Ladies and gentlemen, when you go inside the interview room, you will also realize the fact that sometimes certain questions are asked which are highly embarrassing. Now, these embarrassing questions can pertain to the backlogs if you possibly have. One of the most important questions that you would surely need to prepare for, which is embarrassing, however, is to know your weaknesses. The question is, what are your weaknesses? When a question of this nature is asked, what should my answer be? Ladies and gentlemen, I am again going to come back to the type of answers students have given in the past. We will analyze it and come out with a set of recommendation. Number one, a company asks me, Abdullah, what are your weaknesses? And I say, I do not have a weakness. Ladies and gentlemen, is that a good answer? I am sure you would agree to me that that is not a good answer. The moment you say you do not have a weakness, probably what you're telling the company is your greatest weakness is the fact that you don't know yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore I repeat the first recommendation, do not say you do not have any weakness. Second one, can I get overexcited and tell the company, sir, I have many weaknesses, how many would you like to know? Ladies and gentlemen, surely not. Remember, I told you this is an embarrassing question. A question like a weakness is not a selling question, it's a de-selling question. So when such a question is asked, don't be over enthusiastic. They have asked you about a weakness, so tell them a weakness, but see to it that you're not telling too many weaknesses. Recommendation number 2, therefore, not too many weaknesses. Recommendation 3, please, for God's sake, don't tell them a great weakness. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us have set of weaknesses. Certain weaknesses are grave, certain are simple. The moment I get overexcited and talk about grave weakness, probably in a way I'm telling the company not to select me. In interviews, I've heard students talk about their big grave weaknesses, including the laziness, including the fact that they cannot get up early in the morning. Such weaknesses you cannot tell the company, because the moment you do so, companies are going to reject you. Health is one more in that category. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever we talk about weaknesses, look back into all the grave weaknesses you have and avoid doing so. Your business is to answer, but your business is not to expose all the negatives you have. Therefore, third recommendation, do not give me a big weakness. Now, I'm going to talk about the fourth one. One of the most common mistakes people do, quite a few people, experts have recommended that, but I do not. The fourth recommendation is, do not try to hide a strength as a weakness. Company asks me, Abdullah, what is your greatest weakness? And I say, sir, when I'm working very hard, I forget even to eat. What am I talking about? Company would love that, probably hug me for that. You cannot try to hide your strength as a weakness, because the moment you do so, the HR professional will get to know you're trying to bluff. Ladies and gentlemen, for God's sake, do not underestimate what the other person is. He is a trained professional. He understands that you're trying to bluff. He understands the fact that you're trying to hide your strength as a weakness. Let's be truthful. When you go into the interview room, the link, the credible link cannot be broken. So you need to talk about a weakness. Do not hide strength as a weakness, the recommendation which I said. The fifth recommendation which I am talking about is talk about personality weakness. I've heard people say that they do not have a good handwriting. Ladies and gentlemen, it does not matter to the company. You really think that once you join the company, you will ever be writing? You're going to type, for God's sake. So do not talk about weaknesses which are not personality weakness. So how should I answer this question? To answer that, I'm going to ask you a simple question. First, a grammar question. Should I be giving 2 weaknesses or 3 weaknesses? Because the question is, what are my weaknesses? It's a plural word. But the beauty is, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a grammar class going on. So when they do ask about weaknesses, do not give 2, do not give 3, give 1. The second weakness you can always talk about if he were to be particularly asking for one more weakness. So these are the basic recommendations. With these recommendations, now I'm going forward and talking about what you should do and how you should answer. Let's see. Someone asked me, what are your weaknesses? In strengths, I told you, do not talk about obvious strengths. Why did I do that? I said that because you need to give an opportunity to the company to get to know more of you. In weaknesses, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling exactly the reverse. Talk about obvious weaknesses. Because in weaknesses, I do not want the company to know more of me. So maybe I'm not very good in English. If I'm not very good in English, let me tell the company I'm not very good in English. Maybe I do not have a great smile. Maybe I don't smile when I'm tensed. And the beauty is, in front of the interview person, I am going to be a bit tensed. Maybe I'm not smiling as much. So what is that I will do? I'll tell the person, sir, I don't smile much. I do get tensed sometimes. The word sometimes brings me to the third important rule. Give me a disclaimer. Whenever you are talking about weakness, don't make it sound grand. Don't say, I get angry. Yeah, I'm afraid then. I'm afraid that if I do not select you, what will you do with me? So whenever you talk about angry, say, I do get angry sometimes. So use words like occasionally, sometimes. These are what are known as disclaimers. And the final rule which I talk about induces, give me a correction factor. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have weaknesses. The issue is not with a weakness. Issue is if you are not aware of the weakness. Issue is if you are aware of the weakness but you are not doing anything about it. That is where the correction factor comes into picture. The beauty of a correction factor is that by telling the correction factor, you're converting a negative question to a positive question. What is a correction factor? To explain the concept of correction factor, let me go back to the answer which I gave earlier. Probably I'm a person whose English is not very good. So what do I say? I don't just say my English is not very good, I then tell the company what I'm doing about it. Abdullah, what is your weakness? Sir, having come from a Telugu medium background, my English is not as good. I have realized the importance of English, so I started speaking to my friends in English. Great. The last part is the correction factor. By giving correction factor, you are then saying that you're not resting on the weakness, you are trying to take care of that. More importantly, in a way, you're promising the company that over some time, you will become good in English. Similarly, you can talk about the fact that you're not a very good public speaker. I do have a stage fear. I'm not very comfortable addressing huge gatherings. But yes, I am trying to overcome that. I've started taking seminars in the classrooms. By doing so, again, I reiterate, you are giving comfort to the company that you are trying to change. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the recommendations for do's which you need to follow. I reiterate, first recommendation for do's, please see to it that you are talking about one weakness, but not a grand weakness, personality weakness, and more importantly, with disclaimers. I use the word disclaimer for words like occasionally, sometimes. Second one, I said, give me the correction factor. Now think back. Ask yourself what is the answer that you will give if you were to be asked this question. Because as I said, along with strength, this is one of the most important questions that you will be asked. Thank you so much.